Work.
Oh.
Oh, doesn't say you can't go in, does it? That sprinkler there.
Can we go in?
There's a helicopter.
Can we go in?
Yeah, I think. Well, doesn't say you can't. Does it?
Just says men at work.
Yeah. Men at work down under. Hold on, there he is. Hey, you right?
Yeah,
I got the plane.
You working?
yeah, we're renovating the aircraft, so
Oh, right, yeah.
just can have just a quick look inside. So
We'll have a
we've got
quick look.
We've got the cockpit stripped out.
Yeah, he said, that guy said you're redoing it so it's all lit up and things here.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
So I've got the
Oh,
controls.
is this the cockpit, the controls, is
This
it?
is just,
Oh, the
this is
dials.
just this is the engine. This is the engine system, and that's the pilot.
Yeah.
And that's the
Oh, wow.
co-pilot's controls. So what I'm doing is going to animate them so that when people come into the cockpit, we can do the startup procedure.
Right, and you can light everything light up.
Light up, yeah. So that's what we
Yeah.
do. With
Have you
this.
got to do each dial individually then, or?
No, we won't be able to do that.
No.
Because we haven't got the equipment to do it with.
Yeah.
Hopefully get some of the stuff working, even if it's just lighting.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I can have things like the undercarriage switch. I can have this illuminated for the undercarriage being
Down or up or down, yeah.
that sort of thing. I'm looking at
It's
ways
as simple as that, is it? The gear up and down.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are interlocks on it. They stop anyone from doing that and just dropping the bloody plane on
Playing
its
on the
belly.
floor, yeah.
But also looking at ways of getting the tachometers to work.
Right, yeah.
So when we're simulating the startup, which is fourth engine, third engine, second engine, first engine,
yeah.
you get the tachometers running.
Oh, running around, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
stripped, isn't it?
What we're doing, we've disconnected the control rod so you can actually move all the levers and flaps and
Because you
whatnot.
couldn't have it before.
No, they're all
So they're the engine controls then,
yes,
really?
1, 2, 3 and 4, and you've got controls here for the pilot, which is
Oh, right,
this
yeah.
side.
And
The
then,
co-pilot, he has the
same controls.
Yeah. And the starter is the starter button.
right, yeah.
So you've got to turn that to number 1 engine, press the starter.
And it'll fire one.
Yeah.
So you do each one individually?
Oh, yeah. There is a procedure which we're going to get written up so that when we finish renovating this flight deck, you'll be able to sit there and you can be able to go through the entire startup procedure.
That's what the guy downstairs was saying, yeah.
We're in the process of, Mike is getting all the sort of lights working. So that
Yeah, on the clocks and stuff.
yeah, and the lighting underneath here. So that when it starts, you can actually light
Oh, that
up
big,
the
yeah.
dashboard. And you've got lights like over there. And what we're doing is just rewiring them so that the lights actually work. Obviously, everything was cut when the
When it
aircraft was
decommissioned.
decommissioned, so nothing actually worked. So we're just going to recommission the
Yeah.
lighting bits and pieces.
You'd have to start charging for entry and stuff then, I would have thought, would you?
Yeah, it's not much, but
Yeah, just enough to sort of maintain the upkeep, I suppose. And
well, I so far this month spent £50 just on
Okay,
materials
yeah.
to do it. So it's not a cheap job.
No, no.
Yeah, and there's a lot of work to
There's
do
Yeah, I do.
to
Yeah.
keep it.
So how long has it been here, on site here?
15, 20 years.
Is it?
That high?
About
Yeah.
20 years, I think.
Yeah, because it used to operate out of here, did
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
I presume?
yes, it did.
Yeah. So they were still using these kind of planes about that 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah. Well, they retired 1990, I think. something
Did they?
like that. Yeah. So, yeah, it was at the end of its life then. I mean,
How far would it have flew then? I mean, I know some of these go through, sort of
Well,
cross over the Atlantic, transatlantic, and with
Well,
this.
there's 5 of these left in the world.
Right.
There's this one, there's one in Coventry, there's one in America, and there's one in New Zealand,
God.
and there's one at Cosford.
Yeah.
a military version that costs us.
Right.
So there's only 5 survivors, so it's a very rare plane.
None of them are flying though, are they? No.
Well, the one in New Zealand is taxiable,
Right. Yeah.
but this will never fly again.
No, it's you were saying it's all leaking and stuff, and
Basically, you've got so much rot in these
yeah, and the fuselage.
fuselage that it will be totally unsafe to even think
Yeah,
about
you wouldn't even want to move it, would you? I suppose.
Well, you can move it, but gently.
Yeah. 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 Well, let them get on then, shall we?
Yeah, so in the moment all I've done up here really, I've repainted and refurbished the
Pedals.
pilot and co-pilot pedals,
Yeah.
the rudder pedals, and you know, at the moment like we're stripping all the old paint off
Yeah.
so that we can.
What are these? What are these for?
Well, these are your trim tabs. So when
Right.
the aircraft is flying, depending on sort of like how much cargo you've got and the distribution,
Hmm.
when you feel that the aircraft is flying straight and level,
Level.
then you'd use this lever to get it to move the trim tabs to move
Right.
it to the right.
Yeah. Would the pilot do that, or would the plane do it?
If it's on autopilot, the autopilot,
Yeah.
otherwise it's done manually. And you've got these little things here are lights, and there's a gauge there which tells you how many degrees
Of tilt or angle?
Yeah, exactly. So you know they would literally sit here and they'd go like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you see them on like documentaries, you know, when they got the camera up here and you can see them things just
Yeah.
spinning about, you know. I often wondered what they were.
It's done automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you can do it manually. And what we've been doing, we've been stripping all the paint off so we can actually see what the writing is.
Oh, I feel that, yeah.
And,
Yeah. You're going to redo all the
Oh, yeah.
stickering and writing and stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to redo all the writing. What I'm going to do is get it painted, and then this writing here, I'm going to paint it with a spray paint so you get a finer finish. And then this, what I'm going to do is get some white paint painted in the letters,
Right.
and then you get a piece of rubber. And
Oh, I see, and rub it, and it leaves the...
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that done before, yeah. Yeah. What?
Who's going to sit in the captain?
Cupboard.
Rolling captain. Go on, you sit down. You sit down.
It's dark in here, isn't it? Hey, oh, look, the seats all face backwards. Wow.
It's a knack. Just be careful of your head as you get down the corner.
Oh, look.
You'll get
I
there.
don't think you can use it.
Yeah, go on. You can do it.
Flush.
Yeah.
You'll not get out.
Oh, nice. Would you use it?
Well, just like a normal toilet.
We'd have to lift it up and it would flush.
Right, you'll notice primary instruments there, primary instruments exactly the same both sides. You can fly the aircraft perfectly Control wise, 4 engines in back, which is I mentioned earlier. They're linked to flight engineers, controls there. You're the flight engineer. You're in charge of all the refueling, fuel uplift and starting the engine. Before I'm lifting, you'll do the start up. So you can actually oversee the captain. You will say, you'll do the start up. The start up sequence on this aircraft is engine 1, 3, 4 and 2. You'll start up, make sure all the instruments are working correctly, the engines are working properly. Then you'll say to the captain, when you're happy, Captain, you have control, you will sign the tech log. You will then release control of the aircraft.
See if I can take it.
Is that last trip today?
No, there's no flight in it. All this is gone. Modern day aircraft, Boeing's, there's two crew, captain, co-pilot, and this
That ain't working.
is where all the first class passengers sit, down here, drinking champagne and caviar. No, well it is, yeah. That's all computerised. Navigator is sit here, the navigator, and he'll be the second controller. Yeah?
So what was it? What kind of was it? A fueling plane, refueler
It's
tanker was it?
many years ago when it was built, it's BOAC,
Yeah.
for passengers. And last,
So it was a passenger plane
it
then?
was passenger plane, BOAC, and then East African Airways and various other operators since then. In the last years of its life, it saw action over Afghanistan, Iraq and Libya.
Oh, that's fairly recent.
As a
or-
refueler.
Yeah.
I'll show you some pictures down the back
Yeah.
when you're finished. I'll show you some pictures. So that's the refueling. There was no seats.
Right.
All it was was five massive fuel tanks on the fuselage with lots of
Oh,
pumps.
yeah.
And that's only a third of the length of the airplane. You've got another 2/3 beyond that.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the,
You
in
can
the,
see
in the
it's
normal world.
actually quite good.
And
That.
that's a view taken. That's when it refueled another VC-10 on the refueling probe. That's what that probe's on the front there.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that would hook
Yeah.
onto that and take fuel from another VC-10.
To keep this up in the air.
Yeah.
To keep this running.
Yeah. This used to feed the tornadoes.
Right.
It used to fly in a holding pattern over eastern Cyprus, flying up to Israel
Yeah.
at 35, 40,000 feet, and backwards and forwards. And then hook up to the tornadoes and feed them with fuel.
Be up in the air for hours and hours with it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Driving the plane.
You're driving the plane.
Passenger then.
You're very good,
originally,
aren't
wasn't
you?
it?
You're a very good captain, aren't you?
It's not going fully fast.
It's not going very fast. You've only got 2 engines at the moment, haven't you?
There you are.
3 engines.
I've got some pictures at the back I can show you about
Yeah.
the in-flight refueling.
I need to check where I am.
Are you going to check where we are? I hope we're going to come into land soon, because we want some dinner.
So where did this come from then? How did you because I've never seen this one
This
before.
was
is it
one of
quite-
the 3 that flew around England, a formation around the whole of England last year, and landed back at Buntingford.
Yeah. So is that where it's broken up for?
That's where
Oh,
the
part
tailpipe's
broken up.
from.
Yeah.
It's been melted down into Coke cans and beer
Right.
cans.
So that'll never be seen
The
again.
Chinese have nicked all the copper cabling from it because it's high-grade copper.
Mm.
It's worth a lot of money now.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of these is being cut down and going to go to Cosford this summer.
Mm.
For this
In
ride.
this like same as this.
Yeah,
Bit, yeah.
basically, yeah.
Is there a break?
And one's been melted down.
Yeah.
Because I need to stop.
Break. I don't know where break
The
would be.
captain signed it. He signed it up here.
Oh right. Yeah. Look at
The
that.
last flight was 7th of November 2012. Yeah,
Yeah.
last flight. Captain and
Have
co.
the engines of this been took out?
There's no engines. No, the engines have all gone.
So it won't move?
So are there any of these left
No.
flying?
No.
None at all.
The last 3 flew into formation last year
Yeah.
around the country. It was a very emotional day.
I bet. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
flown in, not this one, I've actually flown in a BOAC one. I went from Heathrow down to I was posted to Tripoli, Benghazi.
I can flick all of this.
Yes, you can mess around with the switches, no
I don't
problem.
think they'll do much, will they?
No, they won't.
Yeah.
And all you've got throttles, it's standard things. You've got the communications to the radio, you've got the same there as you've got here.
Yeah.
You've got the same there for the navigator here. It's all comms up here, lots of radios.
That's
Yeah, and you've got speed brakes, flaps, autopilot, trim, undercarriage selection there. Your spoilers on there, the auto trim as well. You've got your rudder trim, manual trim, electrical trim on there.
How did the plane look like?
And when the autopilot's in control, you just trim the nose finely up and down with the controls there.
right.
Very basic.
Yeah.
basic
I suppose
auto
quite
pilot.
easy when you know how.
Well, yeah. I mean,
If you break it down like you've just done, there's not actually much to it, is there?
It looks a lot when you first walk in. But I mean, the principles of flying. This is like flying a light aircraft. The principles of flight's the same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I fly a 4-seater. The principles of flight's the same. It's just this
Are
is
you-
faster. You've got four engines.
Yeah.
It goes faster. You've got more weight, more kinetic energy, and you have to think ahead a bit more. You know, because it's much faster.
But in general, it's
The principles are exactly the same. Rudder control, balance, and the turns, and everything else is exactly the same.
so what's that? Your second is that more controls for the engines, then, is it? Or?
That's your high pressure fuel cox. If
Right.
if you're taking off, for example, and you suddenly had an engine fire,
Ah, right. Yeah.
an engine fire number 4, that would be flashing. The alarms would be going off.
Yeah.
You both agree which engine it is.
Yeah.
Engine fire number 4 or problem with number 4.
So you can
You
shut
would
it.
then cut off, lift it. Everything's got.
Yeah.
lift it,
Up and
and
yeah, yeah.
You then cut off the fuel supply for engine number 4.
And it shuts it straight.
No.
Yeah.
You'd hope
Right.
that if you cut off the fuel supply,
Mm.
it would spool down and burn itself out.
Yeah.
If it didn't, engine number 4, you pull that, you turn it, and that would give you what's called a fire bottle release, or a blast of CO2.
Oh, right,
You try and
straight to the
blow the
engine.
fire and starve it of air. No fuel, in theory no fire, starve it
No
of
air.
air.
Yeah.
You remove 3 things. You lower the temperature,
Yeah. You
it
put
shouldn't
the air.
get
through-
cold,
Yeah.
it shouldn't carry on burning, in theory.
Yeah.
If you've got a fire in the back and it spreads between one engine and another, you've got a problem. And you've got 2 bottles you can use, bottle 1 and 2, and if that doesn't work, you better start praying to God.
Yeah.
It in
Fair bit of headroom, isn't there? Yeah, no, they're not there, but I mean here there's a fair bit
Oh
of...
yeah.
Unless you're 7 foot.
I'll show you some pictures around the back anyway. Okay.
Ooh.
A decent sized toilet.
Yeah, we've already had a look in there, yeah.
We haven't used it.
No.
This is where the caviar champagne was kept. No,
Right.
This is the galley area.
Yeah.
That's where the food trolley is.
Are these the ovens type
That's the
thing,
ovens,
are they?
yeah, ovens both sides. Crew rest area here.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things we're airborne 15, 16 hours sometimes.
Well, no, they'd need...
Sometimes even longer when the situation was developing almost out of control in Libya. These were going northern coast of Italy, Libya, from Tunisia, 30 and 14 miles offshore of Libya, right at east-west, back and forward. Just patrolling, yeah. Monitoring the situation, shall we say.
That's it.
These are pictures I was telling you about. This is in-flight refueling taken at night time. There's your hose.
Oh, yes.
There's a tornado, hooks onto there, and normal speed about 250 to maybe 300 knots, no about 250 to 300 knots. Bearing in mind that an aircraft like that, underneath there, they're going to get turbulence.
Yeah, well, with this being the bigger one of the two.
They hook up, but if they disconnect, it immediately stops the fuel supply.
Right, so you don't get a splash everywhere.
Into there, throw comes out the side, it comes out and forward, hooks into there. As soon as it's in, it fuel supplies automatically. Very, very high pressure. Yeah. More than what you get on a fuel line.
Oh yeah.
When we got the aeroplane, this bit here.
Oh right, look at that. Yeah.
That's it. That's all gone.
From the wing section backwards.
That's all gone. That's that bit there. That's all been melted down, and unfortunately, all the copper cable has been gone to China.
Surprised they didn't really keep one. You know.
We couldn't have it. We got no room.
Yeah.
This is the trouble because it sits tail high. That the height of that infringes the instrument landing system of the runway.
Oh right.
What we call category 3,
yeah.
totally blind landing.
That's in like heavy fog and stuff, is it?
No, any aircraft that lands in totally blind has Cat 3A.
Yeah, so the instruments
which is totally
do it.
blind.
Yeah.
If it's Cat 1, we could have had it, but because we're totally blind landing here, they can land in cloud on the deck and no visibility.
It's amazing, really, isn't it? How they can, you know. How they can, the confidence they put in their instruments as well.
When the crew was still, they've got to be certified to fly that aircraft with Cat 3 on the simulator. Yeah. But they sit there, they're monitoring everything, mentally thinking. And
because they don't know really where they are, do they?
Well, they will know where they are.
Yeah.
Every pilot. I mean, I fly myself as a recreational pilot.
I mean, they'll know, but they won't be able to see.
They won't be able to see anything until they may not even see the runway lights.
Until they're almost touched down. Yeah.
They won't even touch any controls until the aircraft is reduced down to 60 knots.
So the plane will do all that.
The autopilot, the flight control system, will do it all from the computer.
God.
Even the reverse thrust will come in. All they do is taxi off.
Yeah.
And that's where it can get a problem, because if you can't even see the taxiway lights.
I suppose, yeah.
Sometimes it's so thick up here. I've been up in the control tower here, where you can be like sitting on top of the fog.
Oh, and the fog's below you.
And the fog's below, and you might see a fin go down the runway. It's really airy. And what we are actually what we call LVPs, low visibility procedures, where you have to protect everything. Even though you've got blue sky in the control tower.
Yeah, above you, you can't see.
When you go down the basement tower, you can't even see across the apron. It's really eerie.
So they have to know where every single vehicle is.
This is why we have ground movement radar on their traffic.
Yeah. So I suppose this is why you never very rarely have like fog problems and stuff here. Like you do at Heathrow, they'll always say due to
Gatwick's
fog.
the worst one for fog.
Yeah.
Gatwick is notorious for fog. It's just where its location is. But yeah, when we got this aircraft from Bruntingthorpe, that big hole there is here. We had to make the weatherproof, stop snow coming. Yeah. And the flight deck, as you've just seen, was virtually stripped.
Right. So
we managed to
rebuilt it all.
Borrow, beg, and occasionally steal some instruments from Bruntingthorpe. And that's the history. We're all volunteers working up here. We don't actually have anything to do with the ownership of the aircraft. It's actually owned by the guy who owns Bruntingthorpe. He actually owns it.
He's let you.
Which is why we have to charge to quid to get to come on.
Like those,
Because we have open days here. We open the Vulcan, we open the Nimrod, and we open as many volunteers as we can up here, and we open all the airplanes up. Yeah,
that's what I'd like to get in the open day. The Vulcan.
The Vulcan is
and the Nimrod as
no room.
No,
the flight deck on the Nimrod is half that size.
Is it really?
Half that size. With the whole of the cabin is instruments. But the Vulcan, I tell you, there's room just for two up there.
Is there? Yeah.
And how these guys did a bombing mission down to Stanley in Falklands and back with in-flight refueling, I'll tell you, mate, the mindset, I would never have the guts to do it.
A bit claustrophobia.
Basic autopilot, So heading hold, no track hold.
Yeah.
There's an altitude hold. That is all. Apart from that,
Everything else is done.
It's done by manual.
Yeah.
That is tiring. That is
It's a way to
fatiguing.
fly though, I would have
The
thought.
Mondo
They
pilots, I tell you, they haven't a clue what it was like to fly on those things.
wouldn't be able to, would they?
They
Well,
wouldn't
they
be
wouldn't be able to jump straight in anyway, you know.
My dad used to live at near Waddington, where these were based, the Vulcans were based, and we used to, his grandchildren, our two little ones, when we used to go up there, we used to see like a 4 or 6 Vulcan take off at once out of Waddington.
God.
I'll tell you, the earth used to move for everybody.
Yeah, with a noise.
There'd be no noise complaints because we used to love seeing them.
There's only one flying now,
One,
isn't
and
there?
it's still flying this year.
Is it coming due to come here at all? Or?
It won't come in here. It's based at Doncaster,
Yeah.
Robin Hood Airport.
Does it ever do a flight? I presume it has
when
to.
I was in air traffic here, particularly at weekends, if it was flying north or south, we'd try and rearrange our scheduled traffic.
So you could bring
We'd
it
had it
through.
on radar, but nobody in the airlines complained. If we said we got the Vulcan doing a bypass,
No, they're
so
not
as long
going
as
to
they
moan
can
about
see
that.
it,
Yeah, exactly.
as long as they can
Yeah,
see it from
that's
the
right.
air, they don't mind. Nobody complained.
No, they
And
wouldn't.
we've had
No.
it come north to south at 1,500 feet over the runway.
Yeah.
And
God.
the trouble is, things in air traffic can move very quickly. It's like a three-dimensional game of chess. You've got to be very careful. And we occasionally not have a flyby down the runway because that does affect the arrivals and departures of the big jets.
airline. Yeah.
But we get them over the top at 1,500 feet north to south.
Yeah, I suppose that's quite low though, 1,500 feet, isn't it?
Well,
Really?
you certainly know it's around.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Yeah. Yeah. The noise must have been fantastic.
It's required to save fuel as much as possible, and that keeps the noise down.
Yeah.
And it costs a fortune to run.
Oh, it does,
Every
yeah.
year, it's living on a shoestring.
Yeah. Is it that's run by volunteers as well?
It's all
Isn't it?
volunteers. And even last year, they said it would be the last year.
Yeah.
And they had a major problem with one of the wing spars last year.
Yeah.
And the CA grounded it.
Right.
They had to strip one wing spar
To
completely down and have it rebuild.
get a certificate back.
Fortune.
Yeah.
They got all the plans, the original plans for that particular aircraft, but it costs a fortune to have a one remilled.
Yeah,
made,
of course,
installed by volunteers, skilled engineers who've known the airplane from the
Who's probably worked on it.
And they've got overheads, they've got expenses to come
Yeah,
up
of
there.
course they have, yeah,
A very
yeah.
dedicated team, believe you me.
Yeah.
To keep that flying for the public is a very dedicated team.
Yeah, I guess that's why like the Concorde as well was not kept flying because I mean the cost of keeping that in the air as opposed to
The
just for
Concorde's
display.
It's a lovely plane, but that's another story.
Yeah.
They used to hire it here.
Oh, right.
And take people out on flights on the Concorde.
Yeah.
When it took off from here, I mean, the roads around here used to get clogged up something terrible.
If they knew
Over
it
the
were
bush
coming.
radio, they knew the Concorde was coming to East Midlands. Everybody used to
I can imagine. Yeah, I
clog
can
all the
imagine.
roads
Yeah,
up, you know,
yeah.
it was a nightmare. Of course, as it took off from here, all the car alarms used to go off.
Yeah, with the
the control tower,
yeah.
all the alarms would be going off in the car parks, you know.
It would have been I mean, we were at Manchester for the very last
Were
landing
you?
of it, the
Oh,
one
I
that's
love
there
it.
now,
Yeah.
and saw it come in. But I mean, that was one of the only few times I've ever really seen
I've
it.
seen it when I was down at Heathrow.
It was its hub there, though, wasn't it? Its
Yeah,
base
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've done my radar training at Heathrow, and I was down there for Concorde. And you had to treat it as a control as a special case because of its
Was it?
turbulence and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Special
suppose.
routes they had in that so for the
That's
Atlantic.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to
So-
get over water as quickly as
Well,
possible,
yeah, and
didn't
it
it?
had to get up as high as quickly as possible so it can go supersonic.
Yeah, but it
That's
could
what-
only do that over the sea,
Anything
couldn't it?
below, anything below a certain height, it's guzzling fuel at fantastic
Yeah,
rate.
yeah, that's right. But it was an amazing piece of kit, wasn't it?
And you think of the technology, it's like this.
It's the same sort
This
of
is the
thing
same
as
era
this.
you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
As far as the pointed end, it's the same technology, basic autopilots.
that's right. Yeah, yeah, and it was flew, you know, at that speed by
I
hand.
mean,
Literally.
it's brilliant.
By
And
hand.
the expansion, the heat and expansion.
That's what
fuel.
I used to. Yeah, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, I think I heard
And
one of
the-
the captains didn't he put his cap
That's right.
as it came in
You
for the
put
last
your hand
time.
in. You've got-
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, one of the fuel tanks is on top of the fin, and they have to empty that one first. They have to cross.
They had to trim it all the time,
They
didn't
have
they,
to
to
trim
keep it
with the- yeah.
in
It's like,
level
this
flight.
is tricky to fly manually until you went to the fuel tank on the back, because that would affect your
Of course it would.
momentum.
Yeah, yeah. As you're dropping fuel. Yeah. Yeah.